I just want to do a quick video on how I field sharpen my knives, or at home. Really, the process doesn't change at all. I've had a couple of questions lately, and people talking about the new latest and greatest sharpening systems. Well, I have no problem with them, and if they work for them, that's awesome. I just have a hard time putting anything to my blades that's motorized. The chance for screwing them up is really too much of a chance for me. So we'll start with this one. It's a very simple process, especially with these scanty ground knives. These are ground to a 0 bevel, meaning they don't have a secondary edge. All I do is just take a little ceramic rod or whatever you have. I do not like the diamond stones or the diamond rods. To me, they just take way too much material off. They're way too aggressive. And the technique I use, basically just lay it on, find your bevel, and then just go. Now I keep these wet just to keep these ceramic rods tend to gum up with the slurry, and keeping them wet alleviates that problem. If you'll see on here, it's just got a slight gummy surface. What I'll do is usually just turn it over and try to find a side that doesn't. You can wash that off. It's not a huge deal. But a lot of guys say go with the grain, how they're sharpening and all that, and I'm sure there's some truth to that as far as just going straight across it. I haven't found that it makes a huge difference. So just small circles once you find your bevel. And keep it going. This one was fairly sharp to begin with and didn't need a whole lot of touch up, but we'll see what she gets after, and try to do the same amount of time on each side. Now this can very easily be done in the field if you don't want to carry something as large, I guess, as this. A small ceramic rod works very well in the same way. Just find your angle and go. For field sharpening, I do really like these round rods, just because they are so small. This is a 3/8 by maybe 3 inches, and it works great. It was one of the old stick sharpeners from Smith's. My rambunctious 3-year-old came by, knocked it off the table, and broke one of the sticks in half. So I just threw a little bit of duct tape on it, and now it's my field sharpener. I just throw it in the pack and go. Of course, you can use any type of aggressive surface. Hell, you can get a river stone and it'll work just fine. But I just like to use these. It's simple, lightweight, and I know what surface I'm getting. and it's not going to damage my knives. I kind of like the arm hair test a little more than like the fingernail test and stuff like that. The only reason I do, well, I have an abundance of hair, so it's easy to use. But that one is hair popping sharp. Now that's a Scandy ground knife. I've got one here. If you're going with a saber or any other type of knife with secondary bevel, it's really the same process. Let's go ahead and use this one again. You just find your bevel and go. A lot of people have a hard time doing this freehand or sharpening their knives freehand. I've never really had an issue with it, and all of mine are, well, as they say, hair popping sharp. And I use these quite a bit, as you can tell. I mean, they're not just showpieces. You know, yes, some of these are very expensive knives, but I much prefer to use them. I'm not what most would consider a collector. Yes, I have expensive knives, but they definitely get used. The quality of steel is what sets a lot of these apart. And their heat treat and that sort of thing. And it doesn't always have to be expensive knives. This knife is, you know, roughly in the $300 range. It's a Blind Horse Knives Pack Horse, and it is hair popping sharp. This one I've shown in previous videos is a $2 flea market find. It can be sharpened exactly the same way and just touched up. Now, like I said, this is my way of doing it, and it works very well for me. A lot of guys use water stones, and that's awesome. It works for them. I have never found a need to. These are things, I got this for free. This was something my grandfather had and got broken, so it's basically a free item. And a lot of this can even be done on our car window. So the huge, elaborate, expensive sharpening systems, I just don't find a huge need for. Oh. And yes, I'm furry, but that one is definitely hair popping sharp. All of these, even the old hickories, they're quality steel with quality heat treat. This one I've not used. It's fairly new to me, but it is extremely sharp. Oh, like I said, this way of sharpening can be used for really any knife that you have, except for the serrated blades. And for me, it works really well. Beyond this, I just use a strop to touch them up, and normally I don't even have to use these. When you have a quality knife with quality steel, you can just touch it up and you never have to take it to a big stone. The problem I have with the bigger stones and the more aggressive ones, they just take up or they take off way too much material, and it's, to me, you're lessening the life of your blades at that point. So enough of my rambling. We'll go on to the stropping. I don't have my normal strop out here because it's holding my pants up. But something very simple, and we'll take this one, but I'll do 10 strokes this way. Start with 10. And 10 this way. And then go on to 9 and 9 each side, 8 and 8 each side, all the way down to 1. And then I'll do at very least 20 just back and forth. But like I said, it's very inexpensive, very simple, and you don't need a $150 work sharp if you don't want to. If you want to and it works for you, that's great. This video was just to serve as a simple guide as to how I do things and how I keep my blades razor sharp. So thank you for watching. Hopefully we'll have some new content up soon, and any likes and subscribes, I appreciate it a lot. Thank you so much.